Hello, viewers. Welcome to a much-delayed episode of A Bird's Eye View. My name is Endeavor, once again your host for this series. Today we are reviewing a mobile game called Pathfinder Adventures: Rise of the Runelords. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment, this game was first released in April of 2016. Before we get into the review, I might need to back up and explain the context around this game. Pathfinder is a tabletop role-playing game similar to Dungeons & Dragons. Rise of the Runelords is an adventure path that takes place in the Pathfinder setting. Paizo has put out a card game based on this adventure. What I'm reviewing today is the video game version of that card game. So it's the video game version of a card game based on a tabletop role-playing game. Trust me, it's not as confusing as it sounds. With that out of the way, we can finally get started. In Pathfinder Adventures, players take on the role of various Pathfinder heroes, overcoming challenges and defeating enemies from the Rise of the Runelords campaign. The story is told primarily through short, dialogue-driven cutscenes. Characters in your party interact with different people of varying importance to the campaign setting. These scenes help establish the context of the next adventure, although the player has no input during them. I've had the privilege of playing through the actual Rise of the Runelords campaign with my friends. Seeing the slightly abridged story in the game has been both fun and nostalgic. In terms of gameplay, I was admittedly quite lost when I first picked this game up. I had no experience with the card game, so I had to learn the rules as I went along. The tutorial does a decent job of teaching new players the basics of the game, but it failed to adequately prepare me for understanding the intricacies of the user interface. I found myself stuck a few times while the game waited for me to find the right spot to tap or swipe in order to proceed. This was exacerbated by the occasional glitch that halted the game entirely. The adventures have a number of location decks depending on the size of your party. Each hero the player controls takes turns drawing from one of these decks. Along the way, the heroes encounter traps, monsters, and loot to acquire. Each of these cards requires a check to be made on a die roll, and each hero excels at a certain kind of check. The objective of each mission is to hunt down the main villain of that adventure. The villain card is shuffled into one of the location decks at the start of the game. When the villain card is drawn, they must be defeated like a monster card. Upon being defeated, they attempt to retreat to another location deck, and the player can attempt to block them. Victory is achieved when the villain runs out of places to hide, and the player is defeated when they run out of time or their heroes run out of cards. Once an adventure is concluded, the heroes receive a one-time reward such as permanent bonuses to their die rolls or a free upgrade card. These are useful both in later adventures or when attempting to complete earlier adventures on a higher difficulty. Graphically, the game is outstanding, especially given that it's designed for mobile devices. The dice animate very smoothly, and the wonderful art from the Pathfinder setting perfectly create an atmosphere of heroic adventure. The sounds are likewise impressive, both the subtle sounds of decks being shuffled and cards drawn, to the surprisingly good music score backing the experience. The drawback to all these sights and sounds is the unfortunate drain on your device's battery. Pathfinder Adventures uses the free-to-play model. While their interface doesn't obnoxiously throw pop-up messages at the player begging for money, the in-game store does have its own issues. The player starts with 2 heroes and only the Prelude adventure unlocked. It's very easy to earn enough gold to unlock 1 or 2 additional heroes, but this is only due to one-time completion bonuses on the adventures. Once the player has exhausted all of their currently unlocked missions, the only way to really earn in-game gold is to do dailies. Combined with the prohibitive cost of the adventure packs, it becomes very difficult to proceed through the game without making real money purchases. With that being said, the game can be very rewarding. There's enough depth to the strategy that even replaying old missions is enjoyable. The game also includes tips and tricks for excelling at it, although I had to go hunting to find them. This game is currently out for iOS and Android, although a PC version is in development. I recommend Pathfinder Adventures to anyone that's a fan of Paizo's products, or anyone else that appreciates a complex card game. That concludes my review for Pathfinder Adventures: Rise of the Runelords. Thank you for watching! To see more videos and content from the Rookery Gamers, check out our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr for updates on upcoming releases. Until next time, this is Endeavor, signing off.